Welcome to episode 23, season 2 of FountainCast, a bi-weekly podcast brought to you by your Fountain Hills Chamber of Commerce, striving to be your one-stop fountain of information on your business community. I'm host Karen Anderson.
And I'm co-host Hannah Toth. Be sure to stay tuned after this episode as well to hear about upcoming chamber events. In today's episode, we are speaking with chamber member Dean Warner, here to share with us about his business as an independent moving consultant and his Fountain Hills story. Dean has over 55 years of experience in this industry, and we can't wait to learn from him. Dean, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you, and I'd love to start off by hearing your career story. What was your first job, and how old were you at that time?
Well, actually, it was in the moving business, of all things. At 8 years old, my uncle started a moving company after World War II with an army buddy. That his parents had a company prior to that in Hollywood. And he came back, and his sister had taken it over, so he started his own. And his oldest son was 4 days older than me, so he taught us both very young age, starting off working in the Quonset huts and how to mothball rugs and roll them, and then work through the art galleries and the auction houses. That was it. That was my first job.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
Such a fantastic story.
So are you the person when all your friends have to move, they're like, we have to call Dean?
Well, when I used to be physically able to do the moving, yes. At my age right now, all I can do is the wisdom part.
Well,
to
that's
help
a big
people an
part.
awful lot. It is the most important part. It's more important than anything is to know to do it right.
You know, you would think, gosh, moving back then must have been such a monumental task. We didn't have the online things, but actually it's probably just as complicated today, right?
Actually, it was simpler then. It was. Things were so different back then. It was just, everybody knew what to do and they did it. And you didn't have the problems we have today with all the other problems.
Because at first I'm thinking it would be the opposite.
Yeah.
Because today we can prep for a lot, but there's just that many more things to keep track of, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah, when we did everything on paper, we didn't have computers or any of that kind of stuff. So, and a lot of it wasn't even on paper. A lot of the things we did were just verbal handshakes. So my uncle built his business on honesty and professionalism, and he built a huge business. Wound up taking over his sister's company later down the road and everything else. So.
Wow. Yeah. Well, what's something that at the time of starting your career, what's something that you knew that you know now?
That I know now?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I don't know about how to answer that. Would you say that something I knew then that I don't know now, or
something
I
you
didn't know
then?
Okay.
That you do know now.
Well, I guess in maturity, I've learned an awful lot about different people and what they really want and what they need. You have to be really careful because I guess back then we just took everything at face value.
Sure.
And nowadays there's so many hidden things. You have to be aware of a lot of things today that you didn't have to then. What you saw is what you got back then.
Right. Well, that's kind of sad news.
Sad but true.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
One of those things in life, I think we all kind of learn that lesson regardless of the industry we're in, right?
Yeah, I think so. And we, after the Navy, I got married and started a moving company down on South Crenshaw in Los Angeles, right near the Watts area. Had 5 trucks and a warehouse storage, and a used furniture store. But I made a lot of mistakes because I was young and I didn't understand business. I knew all about the moving business, but I really didn't have a handle on running a business. So.
Right. And that's so common to hear from business owners of any age, really, where they're really good at what they do and that's why they started their business. But the actual management of a business is such a different skill set. Yeah, absolutely.
You're young, you want to set the world on fire and go after things that you shouldn't go after. Don't pay attention to the everyday stuff.
Absolutely. So with your business, what specific services, I should say, because we've kind of touched on it, but what specific services do you provide?
Well, at this point, it's all about helping people with their plans. People are confused. There's so many different options out there today that it's hard to determine which is going to be best for you, which is going to fit your pocketbook and meet the needs that you have. So I've been involved in every kind of business there is except pods, which I'm now familiar with. But I've owned moving companies, truck rentals, mini warehouses, packet load companies, box stores, mini warehouse, and everything. So I've done it all, and I know all about the ins and outs, what to look for, and what the true costs will be. Things to people, be careful of their hidden costs that they may not be aware of.
Right.
Things of that nature. So, and just to be able to go into a home and see what they have and talk to them, find out what they really want to do, so I can steer them in the right direction, so that they can have what they really can afford and what they want.
Absolutely. So what inspired you from working for different companies for the majority of your career? What inspired you to take that leap to start your own business?
Well, I've almost always had my own businesses.
Right.
But very seldom did I did do some hauling for United and Allied Van Lines, some long distance hauling, but most of it's been my own company. So I just I like being able to see that when I tell somebody something, I can get it done.
Right.
When you work for somebody, it's always, that you have somebody over you, that you can't promise people something and know that it's going to be done.
Right. So being the boss, that's important.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's not
Right.
easy being the boss, but
No.
but at least when you tell somebody something, you can get it done.
That's good. Yeah.
Do you see, and maybe there is no difference, but do you see people move around more now as opposed to,
I
days
think
in
so.
California?
I believe there's a lot more people moving around today with all the changes. People, mostly executives, that someone's always hired them from someone else, or they're getting transferred, and that's another Apple. I mean, those are company paid, and usually they have consultants and everything that do that for them. So my main business is working with the mom and pop type people, the ones that have to do it themselves, pay their own price, and make their own decisions and stuff. So that's the one. Those are the ones that I've always geared to. All my companies have been none of them have been working with commercial companies. It's always just been with their families. They're the ones I think that need it the most. So.
That's wonderful. Well, of course I ask everybody, but what specifically brought you to Fountain Hills?
We actually came here to take care of my wife's aunt.
Oh, okay.
She was ill, and we thought it was just going to be for a short time, but it turned out to be 5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So she just passed away about 6 months ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah.
So she was 95, and so
Wow. Yeah.
she did pretty well.
Nice
So,
long life.
Yeah.
We kept our home in Las Vegas for a couple of years, and because we kept thinking we'd be going back to it. So finally, my wife needed her own home. She couldn't commute back and forth all the time, so we sold the home there in about 1 year. So, and it's been a nice move. It's a very nice town, and we love it. Got a good church here, and just good family atmosphere.
That's good. That's what I love to hear. I'm
We agree.
so grateful for our small town type community.
Yeah. Quite different than Las Vegas. When we moved to Las Vegas, it wasn't near as big as it is now. It wasn't so bad, but nowadays it's so crowded, so much crime, so much
bigger.
Everything going on, and come here, the traffic is almost non-existent.
Yeah, I do love that about
Yeah.
Fountain Hills.
I
The
mean,
traffic and no long lines.
Right.
I
Yes.
love going into a store and seeing
Yeah.
no lines.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, absolutely.
silly,
And
but one of those.
as someone with over 55 years of business experience in your industry, the amount of knowledge you have must be hard for someone like me who's 24 to even get her head around.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to fellow business owners in Fountain Hills, whether they're new or had their company for a
Well,
while?
Fountain Hills, being a small town, is difficult to get started. Even now with my consulting, very few people know about me. I've joined the real estate board as an affiliate member. I go there, but I've only had 2 referrals from them in over 6 months with them. So it just takes a long time. I've got an art pack coming up next week with one of the realtors' clients, and I'm hoping that after she sees what I could do and save them more money than most other people would charge them, and still do a better job with that. I think that'll get me a good referral source. I think she'll talk to the others, and that's what I need, is to get more of that. And I think referral is the name of the game, really.
Of course.
In my background, I had the Sotheby's account during the 70s and 80s. I did everything they consigned in the San Francisco Bay Area. I picked up and either packed it and shipped it to New York or hauled it to Los Angeles to their art galleries. So I'm very familiar with artwork and things like that too. So very fine furnishings. I work the art galleries and auction houses and everything.
Wow. Fun. Just to see all the stuff as you're packing it up would be really fun.
Yeah.
It would be.
I love it.
Yeah, my wife loved it. I used to sometimes bring things and let her take a picture of me with certain items, and she just
things that you'd have to go into a museum
Yeah.
or something to.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if anyone listens to this podcast and realizes they're moving soon, wants to get a hold of you for consultation, how can they best contact you?
It's best really to text me or email me rather than call, because I'm not, I am in and out a lot, and that way I don't forget to call them back. It's in writing. It's either on my phone or on my email.
Yeah.
And also I do the packing and FedEx shipping for people too that have smaller amounts they want to send somebody, or they want to send some things before their move, or they couldn't get everything on the truck and they need to send it later. I can help them pack that up and crate it and ship it. And I have probably the biggest selection of moving mailing boxes of anybody in town, and my prices are considerably lower than the other ones. So I have a very low overhead.
People love to hear that.
Yeah.
Low
Yes,
prices.
they do. And we have plenty of people that are in and out with our, seasonal visitors and things
sure.
here. So
Yes.
we'll get that word out. I'm
Yeah.
sure
even
there's a
people-
great need for it.
Yeah, I mean, even if someone just wants to send a few packages and pack it themselves, they can still save money on the boxes and get the right sizes they need.
Awesome. Yeah, sometimes knowing how to pack something
Yeah.
that you have to ship
That
is
advice
half
I
the
give
problem.
free. I can always help people. And people moving from out of the area, I offer free counsel over the phone. So if they just don't know what to do, I can give them somebody to contact or some way to how to look for the right person to get the right information.
It's amazing. That's so helpful. And that phone number and email is available on the Fountain Hills Business Directory, as well as our Visit Fountain Hills mobile app. But if you wouldn't mind saying it for those who might not head to those websites, if you'd like to say the phone number out
Sure.
loud for
The
them.
phone number is area code 702-314-1000. And the email is D as in Dean, S as in Sharon, dswarner@cox.net.
Perfect. Well,
Fantastic. Those are both. How did you get that phone number? The 1000.
One of my companies.
yeah, that's a nice
There was
one.
a new telephone company in Las Vegas that wanted my business, and so they gave me a whole string of numbers like that. So
Oh, wow.
I had my kids each had a number ending in 1000, and we had our address on one number. And
That's awesome. Those are really hard to come
Yeah,
by. A good
yeah.
phone number, once you have it, you don't want to let
Right.
it go. I love it. I love it. Well, that'll wrap up this episode of FountainCast. Dean, thank you so much for coming in and
Thank you.
spending time with us and sharing your story. We really appreciate it, and stay tuned for more episodes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming on. We are so grateful to have learned from Dean today. And don't forget to share FountainCast with friends, neighbors, clients, anyone in your network. And please like, rate, and review FountainCast wherever you listen to your podcast. Be sure to also subscribe to our channel, whether you're listening through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. We hope that you'll subscribe so you don't miss out on the next episode. For upcoming Chamber events, you are now able to advertise in the Visit Fountain Hills mobile app. If you've already downloaded the app, you may have seen our welcome pop-up or our banners as you're scrolling through. Your business could be featured in these sections. So if you want to learn more about that, give us a call, 480-837-1654. We also have our industry stakeholders meeting coming up September 5th at 8:30 a.m. right here at the Chamber building, and our 5 o'clock mixer on September 12th, of course, at 5 o'clock. Head to the Chamber website for more details on all of our upcoming events, or to request to do your own podcast, Uniquely Fountain Hills episode, add additions to the newsletter, and so much more. Thank you, Fountain Hills, for continuing to be the best community.